I'm going to go ahead and show you how to make the card at the beginning of the video. I just love that card. I think it's super cute. I didn't come up with the idea. I went online and I believe it was on YouTube and I found it and I just thought it was super cute. I love to make different cards. I love to make the cards that move and work and the different fold type cards. So we're going to go ahead and make that today. What you're going to need is you're going to need this color here I'm using is Tip Top Taupe, and it's measured at 5.5 by 5. So you just measure 5.5 by 10 and fold it in half, and you've got your card base. You're also going to need another little piece of the Tip Top Taupe, which is going to measure at 2.5 by 3/4. You're also going to need your Delightful Dijon. This one here is measured at 4.5 by 5.25. You're also going to need some Whisper White. This one here is measured 4.25 by 5. And you also will need 2 4-inch circles. One circle will be your template, and the other circle you're going to use. The template, what you want to do is, you can use any type of paper. It doesn't have to be Whisper White cardstock. You could use computer paper if you wanted to. You just need to fold it in half, and then just fold it in half again. And what that will do is find the center point of your circle. So that you're going to need. You're also going to need a brad, one brad. You're going to need your an Exacto knife or a box cutter. You're going to also need your basic black ink pad, the Tasty Trucks stamp set, a circle punch, which this one measures 1 1/4. Any kind of circle punch will do. Something small, so between 1 1/4 to 3/4. And then you're going to need some markers to color everything in. And then the adhesive you would want to use is you would want to use some Fast Fuse. We're going to use that on the moving part of the card just to make sure it's anchored down. And then some snail adhesive and some dimensionals to go ahead and hold everything together. So we're going to go ahead and get started on the card. We're going to do our stamping part first. Go ahead and use the truck. We're just going to ink up him with the your black ink, and we're going to kind of stamp it down towards the bottom. It's a little crooked on my ink pad, so I want to make sure I straighten it out. So you kind of want to put them in the down in the corner, the right hand corner. Just give a little space. So he's kind of right there in the bottom right hand corner. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut out the window part of this truck. So I've got a cutting mat here. So I'm going to take, what you're going to need is your Exacto knife or your box cutter. And what I did was I took the very last line here and I went straight down to the bottom of the shelf. And then I went just straight across the shelf bottom. And then up here where the awning is, I'm not going to go and trace all the way around it. I'm just going to take and go from one end to the next. That's what I did with my original card, and I think it looks fine. If you want to go ahead and cut around them, you can, but I think that would just take up too much time. And then we're just going to pop that window out. So your truck's going to look like that. The window of the truck is going to be cut right out. So I'm just going to go ahead and do some coloring and do some more stamping on here, and then I'll show you how we're going to put the spinner card in. I'm just going to want to set this aside for a minute once you get it all colored. You're going to take your circles, your 4-inch circles, and you're going to take your template one and you're going to put it on top of your circle that you're going to use. And again, we're going to go ahead and you can use a paper piercer if you have one, whatever you want to cut the hole in the center. I'm just going to use my Exacto knife, and I'm just going to kind of put it in the center and kind of twist just to give it a little, the little hole. So then you've got your hole right in the center of the circle we're going to use for your spinner card. Now, this next couple of steps, you're going to have to take your brad in and out of the circle, and you also, I forgot to tell you, you're going to need a pencil for a couple of things here to draw. It's real simple stuff, but it's easier to kind of draw it with the pencil. So you're going to take your circle and you're just going to figure out where do you want it on your truck. So you kind of just eye it up here just to see when you spin it, how is it going to look. So it's gonna, I think I'm gonna put it right about there. So it's gonna go right where this top of your truck is, just a little above that. So you're just gonna want to go ahead and make another hole right about there. I don't know if you can see the hole, it's right there. So it's a little bit above the top of the truck. And then I'll just go ahead and put my brad in and test out the circle and make sure that's exactly where I want it. Yep, that looks fine. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and we're just going to take the brad, kind of bend it, and then you're going to take your pencil and you're going to do it very lightly. You're just going to trace the outside or the inside of the square. And then once you do that, you're going to just take it and give it a quarter turn. And then you're going to go ahead and do it again. Do another square. Just trace your outline very lightly. And what this will do is this will kind of give you an idea as to where you're going to go ahead and stamp your images. So again, give it another quarter turn. And you should do this 4 times. You could probably do more images around here. I mean, you could play with it and do whatever you want. I'm just going to do the 4 squares or rectangles. So once you do that, just go ahead and take your circle off of your brad again. Set this aside, and then you're going to have something that kind of looks like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to stamp on all of these. You're set. We're going to take the cupcake and we're going to put 3 cupcakes in one of the squares. And what I do is I start at an end. And then I'll take and I'll start at the other end. And then I'll just kind of put the cupcake, the last cupcake right in the middle. This way it kind of makes them all kind of pretty even. Then we're going to turn it. And I'm going to do on this one, we're going to go ahead and do the cake. And I'm going to do the cake image twice. I'm just going to do it once in the middle. And then I'm going to turn it to the other end. So your cake now that you stamped is facing upside down. And I'm going to stamp another cake right in the middle of this one. And then this last one here, I'm going to do ice cream cones. And again, with the ice cream cone, I'll do the same thing. I'll do one at the end, one at the other end, and then one right in the middle. And then what you're going to want to do is wait until your ink dries. Once it dries, then we're going to go ahead and erase this rectangles, the pencil marks all the way around. And I'm just going to go ahead and color all these in. You have your little circle all designed and colored, then you'll be able to spin it, and it'll go to the little designs that you did inside your truck. Isn't it super cute? So we're going to need to, now that we have this pinned on, you're going to see this is sticking out a little. I kind of wanted it to go behind the card, but that's all right. It's not too bad. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and, it's up to you. This is fine. You could have it sticking out a little instead of cutting it. You could just move this over a little bit. But what I'm going to do is, this is where the hole punch is going to come into effect. I'm just going to put a little mark here, just so that I see that it's kind of in the center where my spinner circle is. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to take the brad out again. And we're going to take our hole punch, and we're just going to go ahead and, I wouldn't go halfway. I'd go about maybe a quarter of the way in. And you're just going to take your little mark, kind of line it up in the center, and then just kind of give it a little punch. So you get kind of not quite a half a punch. Then we're going to take our yellow paper, and we're going to line it up on the yellow paper on your Delightful Dijon, the way that it would be when you glue it down. And then I'm just going to take my pencil, and I'm just going to kind of give it a little mark here to let me know, okay, that's where the, actually I'm going to mark the whole thing. I wouldn't need to mark the whole thing. I don't need that. I just need to line up those edges there. So you just kind of line up the edges that you marked in with your pencil. And then they should fit on there pretty perfectly. And then we're going to go ahead and take our card base, and we're going to do the same thing. You're going to lay it down like you would when you're gluing it down. And I'm just going to go ahead and do the same thing again, kind of mark it here on the end so I can line it up. And then you want to make sure you open the card so you're not cutting both of them. And you just go ahead and line up them pencil marks again with your hole puncher. And then everything should line up perfectly along your hole. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to start to assemble this. And what you're going to do is you can finally put the brad in and your circle, and we can finally leave it in there this time. So, and then you're going to take, this is where you're going to want to use your fast fuse, because it's a moving part, and the fast fuse is really, really good. It'll hold it down. You're going to want to put the adhesive where the circle isn't touching. So you want to make sure that the circle's able to move freely. So you just want to put it, your adhesive, all the way around wherever the circle is not. And you can put it on the little edge here. You don't have to, but I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then you're just going to put that on top of your Delightful Dijon and line up your circles. So now you'll be able to move your circle. And then we'll go ahead and you can use your snail adhesive or your fast fuse on this part, whichever you want. I think I'll just go ahead and use my fast fuse. this way. I'll make sure that it's not going to come off of there. And just go ahead and line that up again with your whoops. And then there's your card. I kind of screwed up. I didn't leave enough down there, but that's all right. It's still cute. I didn't pay attention when I lined it up here to make sure it was perfect on the bottom, but like I said, that's all right. It's still cute. And then it'll move like this. And then you could leave it like this, but I don't like the brad there. So that's where this little piece will come in handy. This piece here, we're going to stamp out the happy birthday. Now where's the cake? And I'm just going to stamp that out in your basic black. I'm just going to kind of stamp it in the center. And it's crooked, so I'm just going to restamp that. I'm going to try not to get it too crooked. I think my cold is really messing me up. Okay, that's much better. Then we're just going to take a couple of dimensionals and we're just going to put that right over. So now it's hiding the brad. So there's the card. Really easy, really super easy, but it's so cute. So I'll go ahead and leave all the information in the description of the video. And don't forget, February I have my card club going on.